Truly Hollywood's biggest and most successful actors, Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt, have left behind a legacy and, needless to say, have achieved much more than a critical claim. But did all of these achievements and star power come in handy when they were struggling to get along? Very few things clash as drastically as two successful and creative actors who preferred to work with a vision. And that is exactly what happened with Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt. But what did these actors disagree about? What caused the beef? And what project were they working on together? All this and so much more in today's video. So, let's get into it. The Star Wars icon Harrison Ford and the 7-star Brad Pitt, both extremely successful in their careers, got the chance to work together in the 1997 film The Devil's Own. And while everything else in the movie screamed success and big numbers at the box office, in reality the movie didn't do that well. What was the reason? Let's take a good look at a few statements given by Ford and Pitt regarding the matter. Recently, in an interview with Esquire magazine, the Cowboys and Alien star discussed many of his past roles and what he found difficult to work on. And can you guess what was the hardest film that he did in his career? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, The Devil's Own. Let's take a look at Ford's statement. Yeah, I remember why. Brad developed a script, then they offered me the part. I saved my comments about the character and the construction of the thing. I admired Brad. First of all, I admire Brad. I think he's a wonderful actor. He's a really decent guy. But we couldn't agree on the director until we came to Alan Palkla, who I had worked with before, but Brad had not. Brad had this complicated character, and I wanted a complication on my side, so that wasn't just a good and evil battle. And that's when I came up with the bad shooting thing. Safe to say that the creative differences were enough to make the execution of the movie very difficult, but that's not the only thing that made the movie one of the most challenging projects of his career. The fact that the movie lacked a script that both of the main leads agree on was also mind-boggling. But Ford further clarified the matter in a rather professional way. I worked with the writer, but then all of a sudden we were shooting and we didn't have a script that I and Brad agreed on. Each of us had different ideas about it. I understand why he wanted to stay with his point of view, and I wanted to stay with my point of view, or I was imposing my point of view. And it was fair to say that that was just how Brad felt. It was complicated. I liked the movie very much, very much. Contrary to Ford's reaction, Pitt was not clearly impressed with the movie at all, and didn't even bother to try to hide his disappointment regarding it. The star also mentioned in one of his interviews that about his entire acting career, if he had to forget one role, one project, it would definitely be The Devil's Own. It was the hardest film I ever been on, Pitt exclaimed, but as for reports about out-of-control egos and people hiding out in trailers, that just wasn't the case. We had no script. Well, we had a great script, but it got tossed for various reasons. To have to make something up as you go along. What pressure! It was ridiculous. It was the most irresponsible bit of filmmaking, if you can even call it that I've ever seen. The only good thing about the movie that came from Pitt's side was that it was a good schooling experience, and we all know that's something you say about an experience that was terrible in every way possible, but instead of living it out clearly, the person is trying to be an optimist. For those of you who don't know, the plot of the movie revolves around Ford's character, who's a police officer and has a house guest played by Pitt's character. That seems normal at first, but upon investigation, turns out to be an IRA agent. As you can guess from the little context, Ford's character was less complex than Pitt's mysterious and pretty thought-provoking character, and that Sabrina star wasn't having that. And that's when Ford told Esquire magazine, Brad had this complicated character, and I wanted complication on my side, so that just wasn't a good and evil battle, and that's when I came up with the bad shooting time. But according to the rumors, creative differences weren't the only thing that the stars were feuding over. There was a jaw-dropping difference in the earnings of both actors as well. Ford was reportedly paid $20 million to the star in The Devil's Own, while Pitt earned just $12 million for the film. However, both actors are cool with the movie and with each other now, and Brad Pitt even called Harrison Ford absolutely cool in his Rolling Stone interview. And if you want to revisit The Devil's Own, then the movie is just a click away and is available on Netflix. Alright folks, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and to subscribe for more. Click on one of the videos on your screen right now.